What is up, you guys? Today's video is a little bit different, but I'm going to be doing some fantasy Disney World trip planning and walking you through my thought process when it comes to planning a Disney trip. And if you're anything like me, planning the Disney trip is almost just as much fun as the trip itself. So if that's you, you are going to love this video. Before we get started, make sure that you are subscribed if you are not already. I have lots of fun Disney content coming your way, so if you enjoy that, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up as well, and make sure that you click that little bell notification. That way you can be the first to know when I post a new video. All right, let's dive in. As you can tell from the title, this is gonna be a mommy and toddler Disney trip, and I already know what you're thinking. Bekah, you're crazy. Why in the world would you ever wanna go to Disney alone with your toddler? But here's the thing. I am anticipating the winter months as they are quickly approaching, and I already know that we are gonna get so stir crazy, and my husband's gonna be working, and my daughter Ellie Rose, she's gonna be almost 2 years old, and she gets stir crazy just as much as I do. I mean, I'm talking, we're having breakfast and she is pointing at our garage door saying, "Car, go." So she loves to be on the move. She loves to be out of the house doing things. So I really feel like something like this would actually be enjoyable with her. And I didn't even start thinking about the possibility of a trip like this until recently. So my gears have been turning. Obviously nothing is booked, nothing is in the works for this, so that's why this is a fantasy Disney World trip right now. But I would love to make it a reality. So I thought it'd be fun to do a video like this and again, walk you through my process of what it looks like when I plan a Disney trip. So the first thing I do when I start thinking about a Disney trip and what that's gonna look like is I decide what time of year we're gonna go and the timing of it. So I have a feeling this would be something a little more last minute, but for the sake of this video, I'm thinking late January, maybe February, just because it is gonna be the dead of winter here in Tennessee. And it's a really great time in Orlando because it's not freezing cold and it's not scorching hot, and it's just a lesser expensive time of year to go. Rates at Disney World are a little bit lower, so I figured for all of those reasons, February, late January might be the perfect time to go. The next thing I would consider is transportation. We always fly to Disney World. We use miles or points from credit cards, but the one thing that's gonna be different coming soon is January. Ellie Rose is gonna be 2 years old, which means we will have to purchase her a plane ticket. So the big question is gonna be, do I try to squeeze in this trip right before she turns 2 years old so that she can fly for free? Or do we go ahead and just bite the bullet and I take her after she turns 2 and we'll just have to purchase her own airline ticket? Another thing I'm having to think about is after she turns 2, she's gonna be required to wear a mask on airplanes, which she has never worn a mask before because she's obviously a baby, and it's just gonna be a whole nother element of our travel that I'm gonna have to think about. So I don't know, there's a lot that goes into me deciding our dates and transportation just with her age and her coming up on 2 years old. So I'm not really sure what that looks like yet, but again, there's a look into my thought process with all of this. Okay, and the next part of our planning process, and this is my favorite part, of course, is deciding which resort we want to stay at. Now, of course, traveling with a toddler, I'm already thinking staying on site is gonna be the easiest way to go. We can do Mears transportation to Walt Disney World, and then we can utilize Disney transportation from there, and then it also cuts down on cost as well. Ideally, I would love, and this is our fantasy trip, so I can dream big here, but I would love to stay at a monorail resort. I think that would be really the best thing with a toddler, especially if we're going to be spending a lot of our time at Magic Kingdom. You have so many transportation options, and it really simplifies our day when I'm not having to think about tearing down a stroller with my backpack, a toddler, and doing all of it one-handed. I'm just trying to avoid the bus situation. So by staying at a monorail resort, not only do you have access to the monorail, obviously, but there's also walking options, boat options. Of course, you have the Epcot monorail right there if you head over to the Ticket and Transportation Center. So that would be The ideal scenario, and I'm thinking last minute, it would have to be a DVC rental and a dedicated reservation, because at that point it would be too late to rent points, I'm thinking. So I would look at the dedicated reservation tab, but I may not be able to swing that even still in February. I mean, prices are still expensive. It's Disney. So the next best option would be probably the boardwalk. And I think I really like the idea of the boardwalk as well, because you have access to Hollywood Studios and Epcot. So you're kind of right there. And I think having direct access to really any of the parks is going to be valuable. Again, Magic Kingdom would be the dream come true, but boardwalk would be another great option. Another resort I thought about is Art of Animation. I think that would be a really fun one to do with a toddler. And if I could find one of the suites for a really great deal, that might be another great option too, because you're right on the Skyliner. Again, direct access to Hollywood Studios and Epcot. So those are all of the resorts that are on my list. And again, it would really just come down to what I could find the best deal on. And I really like the idea of having a studio, hence why I'm only mentioning DVC resorts. And then the family suites at Art of Animation, they also have kitchenettes. So I just think it would be really convenient when you're thinking about groceries and food, and I'll get into that in a minute. But those are the resorts I'm thinking, either something on the monorail, the boardwalk, or Art of Animation. The next thing that I would think about is dining, of course. Now, I've thought about this a little bit and how it would work alone with a toddler. And I'm thinking that quick service may not actually be the most ideal scenario. Now, I've actually talked to a couple other Disney lovers, Disney moms who have done Disney trips before with just them and their toddler, and they have reassured me that quick service with a toddler, it's possible, you can do it. You just ask for help with a cast member, or someone else can carry your tray for you to your table. It's really no big deal. So I know it's possible, but I'm wondering if a table service meal might simplify that. And you know, I'm not normally the 8-ounce filet with an appetizer and a dessert kind of person. I normally go for the salad and the sandwich, you know, something that's typically a little less expensive. So I think we could still do it on a budget, and maybe we do one table service meal each day, and then I pack lunch and we do breakfast in the room. So I'm thinking that might actually be a little easier than quick service, but I don't know. I'm not really sure how that would work exactly, but I really think we could make it work and that I could figure it out. And again, like I mentioned with packing lunch, doing breakfast in the room, that's why I think having a studio with that kitchenette would be really valuable, because I could do more groceries. We would have more options to eat in our room and things like that. So I think that's why I might pay a little more to have a room like that as compared to All Stars or Pop Century or something along those lines, because again, I think having that kitchenette space really would come in handy, and I think we would save money in the long run by doing more groceries and more packed lunches and things like that by having access to a kitchenette space. But I'm thinking that would be how we would do dining, and you know, I would still get to do table service meals, which are always fun, but still keep it very toddler friendly and pick maybe some character meals, not buffets though, because that wouldn't work with a toddler. You know, how in the world would you go through a buffet alone? I don't know, with your toddler, I don't know. So we would avoid buffets, but maybe the sit down character family style meal would be fun. And then it's just me, so it's not quite as expensive as a full family. Again, you guys, I'm just rambling at this point. This is me. This is like how I'm processing how I would plan this trip. And then the last thing, of course, to think about would be tickets and how many days in the parks. So I am thinking we would want to keep this pretty short. I can't imagine spending a full week at Disney World without my husband, but maybe 2 or 3 days would be really fun, 2 or 3 nights, I'm not sure, and then to do 2 park days. And what's great about bringing your toddler under 3 is that they're free. So I wouldn't have to worry about buying a ticket for her. And Andy and I have been doing the math, and we've been talking, and we're thinking that this year annual passes might actually make sense for us, and we may save money. So that would actually be really, really nice to have an annual pass for a trip like this, because then I wouldn't feel the pressure to be in the parks from sunup to sundown and feel like I'm wasting a full day ticket if I only spend, you know, the morning there or something. That way with an annual pass, you just have more flexibility, a little more freedom. Obviously you can park hop, and I think that would be really valuable on a trip like this with a toddler, and I would need to stay really flexible. So an annual pass really would be nice. And again, she would be free, my tickets would already be paid for. So that's just one less thing to think about with an annual pass. Okay, well there you have it. That is my fantasy mommy and toddler Disney World trip planning video. We'll see if this trip actually happens. I will keep you posted for sure. But I hope this was fun, just hearing my thought process through the planning process and kind of getting a glimpse into how I would do a trip like this. So I hope this was interesting at least. But thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure that you are subscribed if you are not already, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.